Hey there, drummers or sound people or anybody who might have to do something with the drum kit or is interested. I just wanted to make this video, just kind of explain our drum kit, what's going on there with this electronic kit, and hopefully just give some best practices on how to use things and the interface and everything. So yeah, anyway, so our drum kit, it's the brand is a Muzzio drum kit, and it's actually like a real, if you took off these heads and put on real drum heads, it would work as a real drum kit. It would make sound. So it's a real drum kit, except for the cymbals, obviously, they're rubber. But all these have sensors in them that pick up the sound, and they have to be hooked in by different cables here. And so you've got here these different TRS cables, and that they have to use TRS cables. That's the one that has the tip, the ring, and the sleeve on there. And so there's, you can see, let's see if I can pull that. Instead of there being just one line, like a lot of cables just have one line on the end, they need to have two with there. So make sure I plug that into the right spot, into there. And some things need two cables, like the ride cymbal has two cables going into it. So does the hi-hat, for two different controls there, because you have the cymbal and then the control. So the hi-hat has two, and then otherwise everything else has one thing plugged into it somewhere along the line. So yeah, that's our drum kit. And then what makes the sound, the recorded electronic sounds, is this Pearl Mimic Pro, super nice. It's called a drum module, and I'm going to turn it on right now. So the power is kind of down here on the side, right there, like that. You hit that, and whenever you turn it on, you want to make sure that you that the soundboard is either muted, the channels for this are muted, or the soundboard's just off. So yeah, and then the other thing that you turn on is the hi-hat. Here has a little, oh sorry, I'm really bad with these videos, has a little control right there that I just hit. So there's a little spot on the hi-hat. So those are the two things you gotta turn on to use the drum kit. So there's the power on the module, and then the power on the hi-hat itself with there. Yeah, and the reason we don't want it to, we want the channels to be muted or on the board or turned off, the soundboard to be turned off, just because it could make some pops, really loud pops that aren't great for our soundboard. So yeah, so here's our home screen. It's a little bit washed out. There we go, maybe that'll help. But so this is our screen. This is a touch screen here, so you can see it's kind of like an iPad or something. You touch stuff and it will change it. I'm not going to change those things there, but I can touch this and go to different sections. If ever you get lost on this thing, just hit this home button right up there. That'll take you home. There's also this little knob here, which you can push. You push it, that usually takes you to different drum kits you could try out. I'm going to go out of that though. And then you can also, it controls the main volume of your headphones right there. So you listen, yeah, if you're playing this drum kit, you really need to use headphones or in-ears. You just don't get an accurate representation of what you're doing if you're only listening to the mains. It's nice that you're next to the mains because you get a little bit more of the feel from the subs and stuff, but you really don't get an accurate representation of what's happening because you're not hearing directly from the mains. You're hearing over your shoulder, behind you, and it's not pointed at you. So anyways, yeah, so we've got that. There's these headphones that the church has, which are just plugged in right here on the thing, but you could bring your own if you have ones that you like better. And yeah, so you would, when you're playing this, you control what you're hearing right here on the side of the screen. So you've got, kicks, snares. It says kicks and snares because you can layer multiple kicks and snares at the same time. So like I think our snare right now has a normal snare and a piccolo snare, which is like a higher tuned snare, layered on in the sounds right now, but it doesn't have to be that way. It just depends on the kit we're using. We usually use this studio kit. There's lots of different kits, and I think that's just how it is set up. Yeah, so you control all that you want to hear there, just the individual pieces. So the kick, snares, toms, hi-hat, ride, the overhead, which is like overhead mics, and that kind of picks up more of the cymbals. So that's what that's there for. If you want to hear more of your crashes, you hit the overheads. And the room is like if there was a microphone like out 10 or 20 feet away in the room, picking up the whole sound of the kit, and that can kind of just help give it some depth and dimension to it. And that's, you know, when you record in a studio, usually you have a lot of microphones on the drum kit, sometimes not, but that room sound just helps give it some character and feel like you're in a space instead of just a dry drums there. So yeah, that's important for you to know. There's also this mixer button here up the top, so I'm going to hit that, and this gives you options for lots of different mix. So this is the same thing. Phones mix is the same thing that we have in that homes thing there, is what you're listening to. This just gives you a little bit more options. So you could go in, if you hit this red button, you could adjust the individual crashes, individual toms, different stuff like that, the reverb. And then the aux in. So the aux in is here. It's also, if we go back home, this is really important, aux input to headphones. The aux input is the Aviom. So that's just right here, right, oh sorry, there we go. So right underneath your headphones, you've got the aux input, and that is the Aviom, which is how you hear everybody else. So you have a master volume of everybody there, aux input, and then the Avioms, you know, you can turn up. If I was leading, you could turn me up there or wherever I'm at, acoustic guitar, bass, electric guitar, all those fun things. So yeah, use the Aviom in conjunction with this, and so that sends there. Everything that you normally do in the Avioms, I have another video for that. But I think something that's important is you really do not want the drums on in the Aviom, because you might get just weird phasing issues and stuff. So you want to hear all your drums direct from here. Yeah, so that's important. See if there's anything else. Yeah, so you can change the drum kit right here. You click on that top where there's that line, and that'll take you to a bunch of different ones. So I don't know, let's see, there's these other ones like Warm Place right there that I could click on, and I could hit load kit, and that would load that kit, which has different sounds and stuff on there. And I could also edit this one, and you see all these different kick. I could change individual kick. Let's see, so, oh, sorry. I go to load instrument, sorry. And then there, look at all these kits. There's kicks. There's a ton of different options. Anyway, so you can do that on each thing. We don't need to do that all the time with that, but maybe sometime if you want to come in and mess around and find a kit that you really like, you could definitely do that. So I'm going to go back here though and double tap on that. I'm going to go back to our normal one, which is the studio one at the bottom. I'm going to hit load kit. And yeah, oh, and here we go. This shows us I'm on the edit kit feature, so I could I go home, or actually I hit the wrong button. There we go, home. But if we go to edit, back to edit kit, this shows you all that's going on with our kit. So we've got a kick pearl, 2 kicks, there's a layer on the snare, which, yeah, different stuff going on there. So lots of cool stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of stuff in here that we don't really need to use. You know, you can load in music and play along with that. You can set a click track and a metronome. You could create a set list of different kits, and you could scroll through them there. A lot of cool stuff, but we probably won't use all the time with that. And then coming out of the back of this, you see on this side, there's all these things with tape that I have labeled. That's just the wires coming from the individual pieces on the kit. So those all run underneath the kit up here, up that arm, and then are plugged into the back here into their corresponding spots there. So those are all labeled. And then so those are the inputs, and then the outputs are right, there's kind of 2 areas. There's this one right here, which we just send a master left and right out, these 2 cables, to 2 direct boxes behind the stage. And that is the main sound for the drums, but then also through this DB25 cable right there, we send just the kick and the snare to their own channels, in case we want to boost those sounds a little bit. So the kick and the snare are in the main ones too, but in case we want just a little bit more kick, a little bit more snare, we could do that. And that mixed for controlling the mains out is back in that mixer area. Sorry, that glare is killing me. And then the master mix. So there's the phone mix, which is what you listen to. Master mix is what goes out here. So you can see we have Like the ride is a little bit louder than other stuff on there. There's lots of different options on here. Most of the stuff isn't things that you need to worry about, but you can add effects to the whole kit. That's what that is. Reverb to different sounds, which we can do that from the board, so we probably don't need to do it from here. Mod is like you can lower the pitch on, tune it basically. You can also like dampen it, like if you're putting a wallet on your snare, doing those kind of old tricks, you can do that manually through here by adjusting the attack, sustain, release, all that kind of stuff. Dampening, so that's that. Mic effects, individual, that's really complicated, but anyways, you can affect each individual piece. And the mics, this thing emulates that there are real mics on there on each individual thing, so you can do crazy stuff like adjust how close the mics are, what kind of mics you're using, different things like that. So yeah, lots of complicated stuff, but that's a quick overview. I know it's 10 minutes long, but yeah, just hopefully this will be a good reference for anybody if you get stuck or if you want to learn more about it. If you want to learn more about especially the Pearl Mimic Pro, I would just recommend going online and getting the manual. Just Google Pearl Mimic Pro manual, and that's 100 pages, but it's real, or maybe not that long, but it's a lot of info. But that would be a good thing to read if you're wanting to learn more about how to use this. Anyways, you guys have a good rest of your day whenever you're watching this. God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.